Welcome back, folks, to the Membership Machine Show. This is episode 47. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about the best online course building platforms for 2023, SaaS and WordPress base. Also got some fantastic news. I've got a new co-host. I've got Carmen Kendrick with me, the glamorous, the intelligent, the roller dance champion. If I tried roller dancing, I would just fall on my backside. Carmen, would you like to introduce yourself to the listeners, viewers? Give us a bit of a background of what you do during the week, and just give us a bit of info.
Yeah, sure. So again, my name is Carmen Kendrick. I'm currently the product marketing manager at LearnDash, which just means I handle all the marketing communication. So if you're getting emails, seeing social posts, ads, all that stuff, it's my mastermind behind. And then when I'm not doing LearnDash stuff, I am most likely roller skating. I'm still learning, so I'm not the champ just yet. And I really enjoy things like fashion and like home decor, and of course, WordPress as well. So.
Oh, that's great. So, what attracted you to accept my invite? Well, before that, where do you think general the learning space is? Do you think the market's still growing? People using their experience to build a business online?
Yes, I do. I think what's happening is that there are, of course, a lot of content creators, of course, popping up, and everyone wants to create content. And they're relying on, like, the social media platforms to get monetized, and they're waiting for all that to come through. And sometimes I think that they may not know, like, hey, there's other ways to monetize what you're doing. And so online learning is definitely one of those spaces. I mean, it doesn't matter like what you teach, it doesn't have to be purely educational in sense of like K through 12 education stuff. But definitely whatever it is that you're doing, you can monetize it through an online learning platform.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. Right, before we go, we've got an extensive list that we're going to breeze through and try and give you some insight and give you the knowledge where you can choose maybe the right solution for yourself. But before we do that, I've got a couple of major messages from our sponsors of the show. We will be back in a few moments, folks.
This podcast episode is brought to you by Lifter LMS, the leading learning management system solution for WordPress. If you or your client are creating any kind of online course, training-based membership website, or any type of e-learning project, Lifter LMS is the most secure, stable, well-supported solution on the market. Go to lifterlms.com and save 20% at checkout with coupon code podcast20. That's podcast20. Enjoy the rest of your show.
Coming back, folks. Just want to point out we've got some couple fantastic deals from the sponsors. Plus, we've got a curated list of the best WordPress plugin solutions. So if you're looking to build your membership community website on WordPress, and I think you should be, we say we've got a nice list for you, saving you a ton of time. So you do not have to trawl the internet to find the best solutions. They're all laid out there for you. What more could you ask for? To get these goodies, all you have to do is go over to wp-tonic.com/deals. wp-tonic.com/deals, and you find all the goodies there. Like I say, what more could you ask for? Well, you could ask for a lot more, but that's all you're going to get from that page. So, sorry to disappoint. All right, but no, it's a great resource. So, Carmen, let's start off on our journey. Let's start off with the web-based SaaS solutions. Let's start off with one of the bigger ones, Thinkific. Been around a while. What do you see as some of its strengths and weaknesses?
I think that because it is a SaaS company, they have a lot of advertising dollars. And so a lot of people you hear about things like Thinkific and of course Teachable, I think is another competitor of theirs. And so it's very easy for someone to get on that platform. And of course, they also have a lot of established creators. And so a lot of time those creators are telling their audiences like, hey, if you want to sell your online course or your online store, sign up for Thinkific. So that's my first thoughts there. So I do think it is a good platform, even though I am, of course, I work at LearnDash. I think it is a great platform for people that just kind of are dipping their toe in, but there also you if you want to grow on it as well, that's a possibility as well.
Yeah, I think if you're looking, I think what you just said, you're just trying out the market. I think it's a good solution. Or you're adding it to an existing website and you're going to use it. You can have a 2 website solution.
Mhm.
I know a lot of people do that. I think if you're going to build your entire business on it, I probably wouldn't look at Thinkific. I think if you're going to go down the SaaS route, I think there's probably some better solutions, because you'll be able to get the course and you'll be able to sell it. But in 2023, there's a lot more to monetizing your course, isn't it? There's the marketing side, there's the email side, there's a
Yeah.
lot of extra services that you're going to have to bolt on. And you don't get that with Thinkific. Am I being too harsh, or do you follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree with that like 100%. I wouldn't build my entire business on it. And then I'm just thinking about the type of person that would set something up like that. Maybe they are just trying it and they maybe have their main platform, maybe social media, and it's like, hey, let me just try create an online course, but it's definitely not a platform that you would like build your business around. It's like a supplement thing that whatever you already have going on. So
Rightio. So let's go on to the next one. In the show notes, there'll be a list of the pros and cons. I think one of the major cons, I think, like, let's quickly go through the pros of it. I've listed. It's easy to use course builder, powerful learning engagement tools, native community features. I don't quite know about that. I haven't really delved into Thinkific about its community features, so I can't pass a comment on there. I have utilized it, but it was quite a while ago. Powerful site builder. I would disagree with that. When I have tried it out, I think it's okay, but I think it's limited as well. Dedicated app store, beginner friendly pricing. I think the pricing's okay. It's definitely one of the better value SaaS solutions out there. Cons, doesn't offer a mobile app. Fair due. I personally think sometimes the app side functionality is overplayed, because unless you've got a really, really strong community and you're offering a really lot of value, getting your community app on somebody's phone isn't that easy. So I think in some way that's overplayed, and it doesn't handle EU VAT. Well, that would be a major problem, wouldn't it? If you're based in the UK. Well, not in the UK because it's not part of the EU, but it definitely's got that. 20% actually in the UK. So if you're based in the UK or based in Europe, that probably will be a problem. And the prices, like I say, 99, 199, 499. So it's one of the there's one of the ones we're going to be talking about. If I was going to go down the SaaS route, I would choose, but we're going to be discussing that a bit later on. So on to the next one, Kajabi. What? So I was going to dive in, but I'm going to let you, Carmen, give your insight. What's your views of Kajabi?
So I think Kajabi is one of those things as well. I hate to say this every single time, but the reason why I know about Kajabi is because there are people like the Amy Porterfields, and other big names like that. They use services like Kajabi, and I think they had a big influencer campaign to roll out the service. And its biggest highlight is that it's an all-in-one platform, which sounds very good for like someone that's beginner because it is something that you can build your entire business off of. However, what I tend to notice when things are all in one, it's not the best of each service. So it's just like, yes, you'll have a great website, but it's an email marketing capability there so you can get in contact with your people. So overall, I still think it's a great beginner friendly solution. However, we'll talk about this too, that it is pretty expensive to get started. So you definitely want to be making money as soon as you can if you sign up for it.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty slick platform. I think its strengths are the opposite of Thinkific, and its weaknesses are the opposite of Thinkific, because it, like you say, it's all in one platform. And the email marketing is effective, but if you become a moderate to a power user, you're going to be restricted. You can integrate it with external, more powerful email marketing platforms like ActiveCampaign, but you're paying a high price to use Kajabi, so you're probably going to want to use everything that it provides. I think the other thing that is a real strength of it is its inbuilt pipelines, where it gives you some templates and gives you copy around some email sequences that you can send out. And it gives you a canvas interface where you can link different campaigns up. It's not tremendously sophisticated, but it does give you those pipelines, and I think that attracts quite a few people. Would you agree?
Yeah, it does. I mean, it has everything that you need kind of built in. It's just that when you start getting, I guess, more advanced in your business and you really just want to scale things, you do need systems that are made for the type of things you want to do. Like Active Campaign is really powerful. We even use it, of course, with LearnDash. And so I don't think something like Kajabi would ever be able to reach that level of something like Active Campaign just for email marketing, because it's made just for that task. So I think as you scale, it may be harder to stay on a platform like Kajabi, but I think starting off, it works pretty good.
Yeah, I also, they do provide a pretty good library of templates. The actual website builder, it's reasonably good, but I think compared to some of the offerings that you can get in the WordPress space, it's a little bit clunky. And there's whole third-party providers that provide whole libraries of Kajabi themes. The actual themes, the bit of techie information here, the themes are actually built using Liquid. Liquid is a scripting language, and it's open source, but the main web platform that uses Liquid is Shopify. Shopify and Kajabi utilize this scripting language to actually build the actual themes. So if you want a full custom theme, it is possible, but you're going to have to hire quite an expensive developer, and it's not the most flexible scripting language to build an actual custom theme on. So there are limitations, but I think they did an excellent job on the people behind it. The two founders behind it really knew how to get Kajabi established, and they really the people that they got on board, the influencers and the business arrangement they did with these people, they did a fabulous launch of their product. I think you would agree with that, wouldn't you?
Yes, I do. They definitely had a really good influencer campaign to roll them out. So everybody, like all the popular people in the Facebook groups, like, hey, you should use this to build your online platform. And it's like people specifically selling to other people, like, hey, this is how you start your online business, and you're selling that tool to them. So they picked up a lot of speed quickly when it came to onboarding new customers.
Now, all the prices that I'm going to quote during the show, folks, are all going to be the monthly. Obviously, you can get a better deal if you pay annually, but it starts at 149 and it goes up to 199, and then it goes up to 399. They're not ridiculously prices. They have limitation on how many active users you can have, blah, blah, blah. I think the strengths I've listed, multiple course player themes, powerful learning engagement tools. I've touched their pipeline element, support coaching and podcasts. I wouldn't say that was fantastic. Native iOS, Android apps, fair enough. Website builder with blogging tool. I think compared to WordPress, I think it's inferior myself. Inbuilt sales funnel builder, I've touched that. Email marketing tools, and excellent 24/7. I've heard different things about that, but who knows? Cons: no native support for certificates. I didn't actually know that. Actually, that is a bit of a problem.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. I mean, that's the downfall of not really being a true online course. It's like an everything platform. So
yeah, and that's one of the problems of a SaaS. Is that if there's one thing that if you haven't really dived in and you started building your courses, and then there's some functionality that they can't provide and they've got no interest ever in providing it, you're a bit stuck, can't you?
yeah.
That's a slight problem. And none of these SaaS platforms make it easy in any shape or form normally to get off them. Because they don't want you to get off them. So on to the next one. Teachable. I think Teachable, obviously we've just talked about Kajabi and we just talked about Thinkific. I think Teachable, I see Teachable as the middle ground in some ways between Thinkific and Kajabi. I actually think if I was you, if I was that type of person that that you outlined when you were talking about Thinkific, I probably would go with Teachable instead. But other people would have a different attitude. So, what's your general views about Teachable? Because I'm sure in your discussions with your teams at LearnDash, you look at all these SaaS products to some extent. So what's your general view of Teachable?
Every time I see Teachable being used, it's like a supplement to a platform that person already has. So they could be an online fitness coach and they're using Teachable as their platform for students to log in and take their courses. So it's definitely not something that you run your entire business off of. Is very specific to online courses. The good thing about that in this sense is like when it's specific to online courses, like you're going to have those features that you need. So content creators and I guess educators, like maybe K through 12 educators, they have very different needs when it comes to their online course systems. And Teachable, like they can serve both of those audiences a lot of times versus something like Kajabi. It's only going to really serve the content creator audience because educators, they don't have the features that an educator would need in their online course program. So I think that it's a nice in between, but it's not a place where you build your entire business off of, unless your entire business is just online courses.
Yeah, I thought that was a fantastic summary. I think you were spot on there. I don't know why I'm surprised. That's why I asked you to be my co-host. What I kind of quickly listed was super easy to use, set up, powerful learning tools, which you mentioned, ability to create one-on-one coaching. That's the other factor, the coaching. Can you integrate Zoom? Zoom recently have made it a bit more difficult to initially get integrated. There's some other solutions out there that you can utilize for one-to-one or group coaching sessions where you've got a group and you're leading it as the main trainer. Like I say, it's got a basic quizzing. One of the cons is it's got a very basic quiz building tool compared to what you can get in WordPress. And it's like I say, most people use it as a on its own course platform, which isn't part of their main website because it has got a very limited site building capacity. The fees, some of these don't add on a transaction fee, others do, and that changes. The pricing's not too bad. The basic, they've got a free, but the free isn't exactly free. Every transaction, I think they put 7% on, so it's not exactly free. Basic starts at 59, Pro's 159. And then the next one up's 249. Not ridiculous, but on to the next one. Now, I'd be interested in your thoughts about Poda. So, what do you think of Poda?
I think the same thing kind of Kajabi came out with. It really got hot within like content creators talking about it, and that's how they grew their initial audience. And it does target more of that content creator type of audience, subject matter expert audience. So that's you. I think that Podia definitely is a great option for you. And I say Podia, there could be like different ways to say it as well.
How do you say? You're probably correct. I'm notorious in my mispronunciation. I mean, why I become a podcast host, I shall never know if I can't pronounce. So how would you pronounce it?
Yeah, Podia. But it's kind of like GIF and GIF. So it's like, tomato there. So
yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I definitely think Podia is more for that content creation type of person. It's not a tool that I would use to like really, if I was doing really educational type of online courses, I probably want to use a system like Podia. But if you have an audience online, you want to monetize it, I think that it has the features that you need to get that done.
Yeah, my view of it, if I was going to go down the SaaS route, if I just couldn't be persuaded to see the light, to see the WordPress light, Carmen, if I was, I would probably look at Poda, whatever it's called, because I think I don't think it's as slick as Kajabi, but I think it's almost 90% there to some extent in its fundamental power. And they've got all the features. I totally agree with you. It is aimed at the entrepreneur creator that wants to monetize their content. But I think, considering it starts at $39 and then the next is up to $89, I think you're getting a lot of power there. I think like I've listed the pros, super easy to use. I think they've really sorted out the UX usability of the back end. Have you ever used it?
I have initially, and that was just crazy because I was definitely using WordPress at the time, but it was kind of like a peer pressure thing, which I talked about before. Everyone's like, hey, use Podia. And I'm like, okay, let me do it. I'm just like, no, let me just go back to WordPress. So I have. It's just that I'm just used to having control. So it wasn't the best option for me.
No, because it's that fine line. Would you agree that if it's really catered for somebody that hasn't really got a lot of experience, but the guidance, the flow that they give is well sorted out. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and that's not a bad thing to anyone listening, like not a lot of experience. It's actually good for that. And it's also somebody that maybe have heard of a Thinkific and a Teachable, which is kind of more expensive. Podia allows you to get into that same arena, but at a smaller price point, and then also with not having a bunch of experience either. So I'm not sure as it grows, like where everybody will stack out. I mean, will stack up when it comes to those like 3 platforms in particular: Teachable, Thinkific, and Podia. But definitely, it's good for someone that's just brand new starting out, maybe not have a whole lot of experience. But
Yeah, I
yeah.
see it kind of offering more than Thinkific and Teachable. Not quite as much as Kajabi, but almost. I see it. That's how I kind of rationalize it in my own mind. But who knows what goes on in my mind? There we go. It does handle EU VAT. I don't know if it handles UK because UK decided to leave the party of the EU. Bonkers, if I say myself. But there we go. Ability to create community coaching, inbuilt live. It's got inbuilt live chat widget. Wow. Offers free migrations. They do. Cons, course builder lacks flexibility. Yeah, because it's really aimed at the beginner. Yeah, it is weak. Lacks essential learning tools. Yes, it's not aimed at that particular market. No, doesn't offer a mobile app. Yeah, but I think people overemphasize that anyway. But that's my take on it. So we move on, Carmen. It's on this journey. What are we doing with time? We'll probably cut out one, but let's end with this one, Mighty Networks, because I'm getting bored of talking about these SASs.
They're all blending in together.
Well, they do a bit, don't they? They all do a bit, don't they? But I didn't want this show to be totally about WordPress. I want it. We look at the broad selection of tools, and we all got our biases. I'm pretty upfront. I'm into WordPress, but I think you've got to look at the SaaS and the whole marketplace and give some reasonably unbiased advice, best you can. So let's finish off with Mighty Networks. Now, Mighty Networks is a bit different to all those that we have listed previously, listeners and viewers, because it's history. It's one of the first social networks that tried to get established before Facebook, Twitter. It actually built a social network that was getting traction, and then it started to decline. The founders had a load of money, so they did a pivot and they got into building a community-focused membership platform. And that's what they've concentrated on. So it's more about community focus. First of all, would you agree with that? And secondly, how would you, if you were trying to explain why Mighty Networks is a bit different to some of the other products that we've discussed, how would you do it, Carmen?
Yes, I think the easiest way is if you were to look at, you have a social media following and you want to give things that's specific to them, but they're actually paying to be a part of that community. That's the easiest way to put it. It's just like your own social platform that people pay to be a part of with the different benefits that you offer, which is a little bit different than like the ones we've just talked about, because it's not really focused on an online course. I'm not sure if Mighty Networks offers that feature, but I'm sure if they probably will in the future, but again, it won't be as robust as other options because it's really centered around a community, a paid community, I should say.
Yeah, my Kajabi, I think 6-7 months ago, bought a startup because they're implementing community in their own platform, and then there's another competitor called Circle. That's the other main SaaS competitor to Mighty Networks. But I think if you're going down the problem is that a lot of people, when they're going down this community thing, they're obsessed about having an app in mind, and The problem with Mighty Networks is that it starts at $39, which seems very reasonable, but you don't get the app functionality. You got to go up to business, which is about 119. You do get the app, but it has Mighty Networks branding all over it. You've got to go up to Mighty Pro price to get your own custom app, and you've got to talk to them sweetly to find out what the price is for that. I've had a few people give me some idea about what they're charging for that, and I think you need to be sitting down before they tell you. It's got no quiz building tool. The website builder is a bit clunky in my opinion. So, and I think Kajabi's gunning for them. I think they're trying to get stuff up there. So before we go for our break, if you had some relative, a friend, and they just, you might have to say goodbye to them as a friend if they just wouldn't look at WordPress. But let's say for some reason they're still a friend, but they just don't want to use WordPress, and they wanted to. Which one of this would you recommend?
Yeah, that's so tough. Well, if they are truly wanting to offer an online course, I would probably say either Thinkific or Teachable. I just do not like the idea of Kajabi being all in one. And so at least if they just have their online course on like a Thinkific or Teachable, it gives them options in the future. And then Podia maybe as a third option, but if it's truly an online course, then I would say Thinkific or Teachable. And it's just like really price point and which one you like at that point.
Yeah, I follow what you're saying. I would, if you've got an existing website, probably go Thinkific, Learnable. If you ain't got a website, I'll probably go with Podio. And if money doesn't mean anything, and look at Kajabi. But that's how I would rationalize it. If you're in the building a community, let's say you built a community on Facebook or this Slack, whatever, Discord, have a look at Mighty Networks. But I'm not an enormous fan of Mighty Networks. All right, then. We're going to go for our middle break, folks. We will be back with more insights in a couple of moments, folks. Back soon. Coming back, folks. Just want to point out that if you're looking to a WordPress great solution and a hosting solution, why don't you have a look at WP-Tonic? Basically, we offer great hosting that's really optimized for membership and community, plus a really extensive list of functionality and quality plugins, all in one price. And you also get great personal service from me and from my team. So if that sounds interesting, go over to WP-Tonic. So let's go into the second half of the show. Let's start with something you don't know about. Let's start with LearnDash. So what do you see are the strengths and weaknesses of LearnDash? This is going to be a hard one. The weaknesses, there are no weaknesses, Jonathan. But there we go.
Yeah. LearnDash, yeah. That's a good. I don't even know where to start. That's so funny. I think, of course, online courses is definitely LearnDash's strong suit over everything. It is geared towards someone that wants to either do their subject matter expert. They're teaching, I don't know, a basket weaving course, and they don't need advanced things like quizzes or maybe certificates, but it does have the option, all the way to maybe even a college, university that may want to train their staff. Like LearnDash can be used by all of these different audiences. The tough thing about that is just because there's so many use cases, it makes it kind of tough. I don't want to say for support, but just to figure out what you're doing if you're doing it on your own. And so sometimes you may need to hire a developer, somebody that's well versed in it to get it off the ground. But there are options that, like LearnDash Cloud, for example, that try to makes it a little bit easier for you to get into it. And then because I just have all this insider knowledge, we just released a product called MemberDash. So LearnDash did have some membership capabilities built in, but it wasn't expansive, like maybe like a member press or something. And so MemberDash does give people that opportunity as well. It doesn't have to be used with LearnDash. It can be either or. You can use both together, but it's definitely growing as a product to offer different options to different people, no matter what their needs are. So,
Yeah. So, what was, you don't want me asking, was there, I suppose, was there a debate about, you built this secondary product for the membership side of it? Was there a discussion about you should combine it natively with LearnDash and not offer it as a separate product? Was there a bit of a discussion about that?
yeah, there was. What it ultimately came down to is that everyone may not be ready to offer an online course, but there's so many people that are offering content and they just want to get paid just for the content itself. And so it gave people a way into the LearnDash brand. Maybe they're ready in the future to create an online course, but MemberDash as a separate product gave those people a way in that didn't have to feel like they needed to create an online course. So it's good for us as a business because we open up a new market, but it's also good for the creator that isn't ready for that next step of creating an online course for their content.
Yeah. Well, so what's my view of LearnDash? Well, LearnDash is one of the more established learning management plugins. It was one of the first to market with a serious solution that was offered in the WordPress space. Its founder, I have interviewed a couple of times. They had roots, him and it was a couple that started it. Basically, they had quite considerable roots in the corporate e-learning space, training space, and because of those roots and its history, it built up a following in the university, in the corporate, and in the individual coaching space. It's got a really nice interface. That what Carmen's just mentioned about the membership product, that did cause a bit of confusion because they did build some membership purchasing functionality in the core plugin, but it wasn't that extensive and it did cause a little bit confusion. I think its quiz engine is quite impressive, and it does certificates, and it has a very large Facebook group, which I'm reasonably active when I have enough time to contribute. If contribute is the right word. And it's well established, and it's a serious play, and it's one of the partners. They do offer their own hosting solution, but they're not too aggressive. I see myself as a partner. There's plenty for everybody in the space. It's obviously the pricing for one site license $199, but that's for the year.
Yeah.
Obviously you got to get the hosting, and I think I was going to actually say something, but we can cover that in the next choice in the WordPress space. So just to finish off with my critique, I think there's about 4 major solutions that I would look at. We pushed LearnDash and 2 others. So I would always say LearnDash is one of the main players if you're looking to build a membership course-based business on WordPress. What's your response to my critique?
No, I think it's fair. I don't think there's anything that's off about it. We still get like a lot of questions about, hey, what's the difference between MemberDash and LearnDash? Do I need both? And LearnDash being the actual brand on the site, it's also confusing to people. So we're definitely working through some of those issues, but it does show that we are trying to adapt to the market and its different needs.
Right. On to the next one. Access. You might pronounce this differently because I've always Access Ally. Access Ally.
Funny thing
Access
is, I thought it was Ally at first too.
Ally.
It's like Access Ally, like an ally as a friend.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I've struggled, and it's not. I'm not doing it. Access Ally. A all-embracing plugin solution that not only does similar things to LearnDash, but it also integrates marketing automation and email. You need a email sending out service that will work with it. So you need something, to some extent, that's the same with LearnDash, where administrative type email, depending on your hosting provider, it probably will be able to deal with sending out the transactional email that LearnDash, like somebody finishes a course or when somebody signs up for a course. When it comes to Access Ally, it also deals with the marketing side of it and marketing automation side, all bundled. Now, the founder of it is one of the smartest women, and her husband, but she's one of the smartest individuals that I've met. But I can't recommend the plugin because it's all what I call an all-embracing walled garden WordPress solution, and that was done and it was developed at a time where there wasn't any really quality marketing automation solutions in the WordPress space. That has dramatically changed with systems like Fluent CRM and other plugin solutions. So I see Access Ally as a bit of a walled garden that tries that, for understandable and historical reasons, attempts to do too much in one plugin. What's your position on that, and what would you say about what I've just said?
I agree. I know that people look at it from a cost perspective. It is easier and cost friendly to have everything all in one, but it can weigh down your site, or like just a core plugin just makes it just way too much going on in there. And then at the same time, like there's features or there's programs or plugins that do that thing specifically when it comes down to marketing automation and CRMs. And they're going to always be much better than whatever is actually inside that plugin, because you have developers trying to put online courses and a CRM together, and it's never going to be like just focus on one thing. So I do see the ease of it. It's kind of like, what was a good example of that? Like a Podia, Kajabi type of thing, but in like the WordPress space, kind of combining multiple things together. But long term, I don't always think that's a great idea.
No, and it's just difficult because I admire the founders a lot, but like I say, which isn't, I don't think is listed. No, it's not listed. Another plugin solution that attempted, but even pushed it even further, was Fry Themes. They're still very active, but that has even more, because it has its own page builder actually integrated with it. It even went a further step than Access Ally, but they're the two in the WordPress space that attempted to build a quasar walled garden, as I call it. And I just think it's a bridge too far, really. There's a fine line between trying to be a SaaS, in WordPress. And if you're trying to be a SaaS in WordPress, in some ways you might be better off going to Kajabi. To me, that's going a bit too far, but that's my personal take on it. Other people would disagree, and I'm fine with that. Let's go on to the next one. I'm sure this is discussed in LearnDash. Tutor LMS. It's been growing. I think when it comes to interface design, they've done an excellent job. One of the strange factors of building your business in the WordPress platform is that some of the ways that you judge a plugin is not purely on its own functionality, but its relationships and integrations with other key plugins in, and its community and its support. So, but I don't see it as still as a main player, but I think it's definitely nipping at the heels of LearnDash and some of the other players a little bit. So I'm going to just turn it over to you and see what your thoughts are on Tutor LMS.
Yes, so Tutor LMS reminds me of how we talked about Podia being like a runner-up to Teachable and Thinkific. It has an established player to market, which are like your LearnDash and Lifter LMS plugins that you have an audience, but they have a free option, which, you know, more people are going to be able to sign up for that. It's free. You can test it out without having to invest anything in it. And it's just an easier way to get into it. So I think they definitely capture that audience in a way, in the kind of similar to Podia, where it's like, hey, I don't really want to pay as much to go on Thinkific or Teachable, but it still allows me to just get in the game. So I think they do have a really nice interface. I'll be so glad when we can update our interface to look a little bit, more modern as well. But I think that is a great selling point for it. And so that's I guess all I have to say about Tutor LMS.
Yeah, I think you were being quite fair there, actually, because if somebody said to me, I'm using Tutor, I wouldn't say, oh, no, you've made a terrible mistake. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't recommend it, but I wouldn't say it's a terrible mistake. I think they do offer a free product. I think the next one we're going to discuss, its free product offers a lot more in some ways, but it's got a more modern interface than LearnDash or Lifter LMS in some ways. So let's go on to the biggest competitor to probably LearnDash in the LMS field, and I would say the second most established. I would say LearnDash is a lot bigger, but because it was first to market really with a serious solution. So I'm talking about Lifter LMS. So I'm not going to say so. I'm just going to send it to you and see what you say. What do you see as some of the strengths and weaknesses of Lifter LMS, and Carmen?
Honestly, I don't. I really say that LearnDash and Lifter LMS are very close when it comes to the product. And it almost it comes down to just brand recognition, and just people. It's kind of like a Teachable and a Thinkific thing. Like, they are both great solutions. It's just more of a preference is what it comes down to. So of course, Lifter and LearnDash are the most established players. And so I wouldn't say it's like a big difference. I haven't had a big chance. I've probably used Lifter maybe like once or twice. So I can't remember any key differences, but from what I do remember, it's pretty close to what LearnDash has. It's kind of just right below, but not like a subpar solution.
Yeah, that's what I would say. So I'm constantly asked, should I use Lifter LMS or should LearnDash? And this is my take on it. I think when it comes to functionality, they're very similar. In truth, I think there are some differences. I think the free product offers a lot, but to actually sell the course, you got to buy an add-on. they provide a Stripe add-on for about $120. That is actually going to be cheaper than going with Tutor, because to buy a one-site license, it's going to cost you $199. So, and they offer quite a lot of functionality in the free product. LearnDash never offered a free product, and I totally understand why. Then they offer bundles. Now, I think for historical reasons, based on the founders of both plugins, I think the Lifter community, because of the historical background, was different to the LearnDash. Obviously, this isn't totally correct, because these are only kind of buckets and they overflow into. Is that the Lifter LMS really seemed to have its historical background with the individual entrepreneur, where LearnDash seemed to have more LearnDash is utilized by individual entrepreneurs as well, but its historical SEO online identity seemed to be also based in the university, in the corporate educational, in the more professional market, where the Lifter LMS, its historical background was in the individual entrepreneur. And it's, I think one of the things that Lifter LMS has been very effective on and is true is its community support that it offers. It does offer, you do have to buy the bundle products. They do where they offer their add-ons at certain different levels. I think one of the problems with Lifter LMS is that I don't think its pricing structure's been really coherent, and I think they're trying to change that, because recently they offered what they call their Earth bundle, which starts $199. I think before that there was an enormous, there still is, because the next one up is Universal at 360 per year, but then they've got this Infinity bundle, which is $1,200, right? But what you get access to all these add-ons for the 1,200, but what you're really getting is getting access to a lot of online training and community-based support as part of that 1,200, like group Zooms, which and a lot of other access support. But I think the pricing, I think one of the problems with Lifter is the pricing structure in a way, in my opinion. I don't know if you want to comment on that, or you feel that you just want us to move on to something else.
Oh no, I just it made me think when before I was even at LearnDash or anything, and I was looking for an online course solution, and I went to Lifter. It was very confusing to me as far as like what I actually needed because of all those different add-ons. LearnDash for a while did not have any paid add-ons. Now we've recently got paid add-ons, and I can definitely see there's a difference in like how LearnDash add-ons and how Lifter, because if you're new to the product, it can be confusing when you go over to that pricing page trying to figure out, well, do I actually need this? And then you buy the biggest one, because we tend to go the opposite, like, hey, let me just get everything, and you may not use half of those things in there. So that's the only piece that they could probably clean up is the pricing plans, but that's hard work to figure out how to undo that.
Yeah, I'm not saying right or wrong. I think there's a lot of grey here. So I'm a personal friend to one of the founders, and I know people in the LearnDash, and I think the team behind LearnDash and the team behind Lifter LMS are excellent people. which is one of the great things. But one of the great things is the quality of people in the WordPress space. So let's move on. Let's move on to Buddy Boss. I'm just going to throw it. How do you explain Buddy Boss, and what's your thoughts around Buddy Boss?
Buddy Boss is like the mighty networks in the SaaS compared to online course solutions. And Buddy Boss, if you do want to offer online course solutions, you still need something like Lifter or LearnDash. I'm not sure if it integrates with Tutor to make that happen, but it's all about building your own community and like it's your own little Facebook, in a sense. So yeah, that's how I would describe Buddy Boss.
Yeah, I've got a love-hate relationship with Buddy Boss and with the founders of it as well. I love it, but it causes me to lose a little bit more of my hair trying to explain the reality of Buddy Boss, and in some ways I've given up. So and it's this, folks. Buddy Boss offers a lot of functionality for the price. One website's $228 for the year. That's for what you're getting. That's quite a lot you're getting for that price. We offer it as part of our hosting package. Now, it doesn't come with a membership. You can use LearnDash or Lifter, but I would recommend that you use it with LearnDash, because they offer a website solution and they offer an app solution that comes from Buddy Boss. If you want to bolt on the app solution, it will only really work with LearnDash without some customization. You can get it to work with Lifter, but you'll probably be better off going down the LearnDash route, right? The problem with Buddy Boss is that they decided to have functionality inbuilt, because it comes in two bits. It comes with the plugin and it comes with a theme. And bless their little hearts, they decided, I think the plugin is free and the theme you have to pay for. That's what you get. You get both, but you can get the plugin and not pay out $228. I think I'm right about that, because I get a bit confused myself. Yeah. But the problem is, folks, is that you go to the Buddy Boss website and you go to the demo website. Number one problem is that if you install Buddy Boss, it looks nothing like that demo site, right? Nothing like it, right? Second problem is that they've put functionality not only in the plugin but in the theme. And if you go to their website, and they have extensive documentation, they use very I'm going to be very careful, very precise language that's been obviously written many times. You can utilize a third-party theme on it, but that you will, if you do that, it will might affect some key functionality of how the website actually works. So what they're really saying to you is you've got to really use our theme, and you really got to use the plugin. And if you want to do any customization, use Elementor or use something else. It's messy, in other words. It's messy. Doesn't mean you shouldn't use it, because what you're getting for the money. And the other thing is, you really, really need decent hosting. This will utilize. This is the same server functionality of a medium-sized WooCommerce solution in its server needs, and it's soon. So be aware that you will use it with LearnDash, and it's a bit of a beast. So what do you think of what I've just said there, Carmen?
It's all true. I mean, I used it with one client. You're so true, or so right about the hosting thing, because I had a client use HostGator with it. And man, it was terrible. I was trying to get them to switch over, but Sorry, my
No.
alarm. But
Was
yeah,
that Buddy Boss?
okay, you're talking about us. Please stop. And we love you, Buddy Boss. Like over at LearnDash, we love you guys. But yeah, I agree with a lot that you said there. There's nothing that's off about that. You definitely have to, you don't have to use your theme, but it's recommended that you use your theme if you look at that
Can you
functionality.
imagine I have to try and explain this to somebody that's new to WordPress? So I
Yeah.
attempted to be honest and go, I'm not being dishonest, but I've learned that that there's only so far that I can go really, because otherwise I can see people just glazing over in front of me as I
Yeah.
try and explain what Buddy Boss have built. Sorry
Yeah.
to interrupt, Carmen.
No, you're fine. I mean, it's all true. It's a lot. And then a lot of times what happens is even with LearnDash and Buddy Boss, because there's so much functionality being put together, sometimes Buddy Boss will release something that messes something up in LearnDash and vice versa. But we do have a really great relationship with the founders at Buddy Boss. So we try to make sure things are updated, but it can get tricky, especially since you're having to, it's not built in with online courses or memberships. You have to add that piece to it. So it's like if you're building a site like that, you almost need to have like, like WP-Tonic or like an agency helping you out with that.
Yeah, it's a bit of a beast, but I think the other thing that I think we're going to jump the last one because we've got to the hour and you got better things to do. So I think we just come to our final thoughts. I think, but I think the other thing with these community websites is I always advise people, build your first course, get your first minimum viable course out. You're going to learn a lot from your students. Do not attempt to build a community website straight off unless you already got a community and you got some experience about building a course, because you're just piling on too much too quickly. Because building a course and also building a community at the same time is not a small endeavor, is it?
No, not at all.
And I think people just it's great to have ambition. I love ambitious people. They're normally fun people. But you also got to know, don't bite off too much too quick, don't you?
Yeah, it's a lot. So it's like take one step at a time. Definitely.
So, because I just don't think they understand is that you're doubling the amount of work that you are going to have to put into the website if you're managing a course plus a community focused site. They just don't understand the amount of extra work, do they?
Yeah, it's yeah, because I'm in the process of doing something similar myself, and it's such a huge undertaking trying to, build out that community piece and build out the course. But it's kind of like you need the community. So that way when you put the course out there, you got people that's, ready to actually buy it. So it's a fine line to walk, definitely.
Yeah, I think, I do understand, because I think you're best to try and build some community on Facebook, on Slack, on some other platforms, and then build your first course, and then have the flexibility, which you get with WordPress, is that you could build something on, if you're planning on that route, we suggest that you do it with LearnDash, because then you can bolt on, you got the ability to add Buddy Boss on, but it is a difficult one, because I see where you're coming from, because part of having a successful membership website in 2023 is building community, isn't it? So it is a tricky one, isn't it?
Yeah, you kind of need both.
Right. So, Carmen, it's not been too nerve-wracking, hasn't it? It's flowed reasonably well, hasn't it, Carmen?
It went really well. I really enjoyed a lot of good information. And of course, I understood all of these different solutions out there, but really understanding like who they're actually for is something I hadn't really thought about until we really start discussing it. So this was good.
So, Carmen, what's the best way for people to learn more about you, your thoughts, and your roller dancing?
Yeah, so I'm most active on Twitter. Well, I'm not even as active as I used to be. I also started back school. So I have a lot going on. Yes, I am an art student here at Georgia State University now again. So here I am. But I'm on Instagram as well. All of my handles are I am Carmen K. So Instagram and Twitter is when I do post is where you'll find me. But I'm not going to lie, I'm very busy in between hobbies, work, and going back to school.
All right. A busy lady. But thank you for agreeing then to do this podcast. But I said to Carmen that I would do most of the heavy lifting. She could come in and just provide her intelligence and knowledge. So it should be a good combination. We will be back next week with another more knowledge about building a membership website for yourself and for your family and building a successful online business, which is totally achievable. We'll see you soon, folks. Bye.